I often talk to students who are very frustrated and upset because they put in the time and the energy for studying, but when they take their tests, they don't get the grades that they thought they were going to get. And when I talk to them about their experience and what they're going through, they tell me that they get really nervous and they sometimes black out or they really kind of spin away into negative self-talk. And what that is really it's test anxiety. And I have seen an increase in test anxiety. And what test anxiety is sort of your fight or flight response kicking in. And it's normal to be nervous before taking a test, but test anxiety is really the amplification of those symptoms. So for starters, what you will experience, like those students had mentioned, is you may sit down and start to look at the questions in the test and suddenly black out and forget everything that you studied. You may see an increase in your heart rate. You may feel jittery and sweaty. You may even feel nauseous. And you may even feel like the sudden urge to just run out of that classroom and not come back. And so, what causes test anxiety? In some ways, it's from not preparing well enough. Maybe you did cram. Maybe you were not paying attention or you did not take good notes and you thought an all-nighter would be a good idea and to stuff all of that information into a small box of your short-term memory. Or maybe you are a perfectionist. Maybe you have a GPA or a scholarship to maintain, so you have to get a good grade on all of the tests that you take. Maybe it is pressure from outsiders like family members or friends or your community because you want them to be proud of you and you want to do well. Or maybe it's just the pressure that you're putting on yourself. You want to do well. You want to be at the top. You want to get those A's because you want to prove that to yourself. And this is great. That's great drive. It's great reasons. It's the why that you're doing this. But it can also be self-destructive if it goes too far. So how do you manage test anxiety? There are a few things that I tell students. One, when it comes to the studying and preparing, don't cram. It's not going to do any good. It may help a little bit with the short-term memory, but what you need to do is really spread out the studying time. As you're taking those lectures or reviewing those lectures and taking those notes, looking at the PowerPoint slides, doing your assignments, space that out every day over time and just do a little bit. Do a little bit each day so you're slowly putting those memories into your brain and you're anchoring everything and you're starting to connect the concepts. So your brain has time to really form that, and so you're able to more easily recall it when you're taking the test. On test day, I would say before, get a good night's rest. Sleep does more for learning than you could ever imagine. I think sleep is far more important than cramming or trying to do 50 hours of studying. Sometimes that's not always manageable, but sleep can make a big difference because it's how your brain processes what you're learning and connects those dots. Now, the morning of or the day of when you go into that classroom, I would recommend avoiding caffeine or sugar. A lot of people like to take caffeine because it helps them feel alert and more focused, but sometimes too much can make you feel jittery, and taking caffeine while you're nervous can really amplify the effects of caffeine and make you jittery as well. Breathe. That is the next key, because when your body feels the fight or flight and that heart rate increases, you want to get your body under control physiologically. So really slow down your breath, focus on relaxing, and let your body follow the breath and relax. And if that doesn't work, or if you need another layer to that, be mindful. Be mindful of what you're feeling. Are you tense in your shoulders? Do you need to relax that? Do you have tension in your face? Relax that. Just focus on being present and breathing and relaxing. The next step is more of that mental aspect. When you are taking the test and you are being mindful, focus on the question in front of you. A lot of students will think that they'll come across a question that they don't know and they may skip it or they may try to guess, and then it kind of haunts them the rest of the test because they want to race through what they do know because they want to have enough time to go back to the questions that they didn't know to answer. My advice to you is let it go. Whether you did skip it and you plan to go back, or whether you just guessed, move on. Do not drag that into the next question, because that's going to take away mental energy and focus on the question right in front of you. The last thing I would say is it comes down to self-talk as well. We have this habit of letting that negative voice in our heads get carried away. And so when you are feeling nervous, when you're feeling tension and like you want to leave, and you're dragging these questions along the way as you take that test, and you know that you're not doing very well, that voice starts to creep in and says, you're not going to pass. You don't know these questions. You don't know the answers to them. Just give up. You have to shut that voice down, and you have to tell yourself, no, I studied. I got my rest. I'm breathing. I know this. I may not be able to recall it right away, but I know this, and I'm going to trust myself. The self-talk over time can really make a difference in how you approach these exams. So if you are one who experiences test anxiety, I encourage you to try these out. Try out these strategies. And if there is a strategy that you use that I did not cover, let me know in the comments down below. And I hope this helped. I think there is such a rise that this needs to be talked about more openly in the classroom and among classmates and students, and sharing with each other how they manage their test anxiety, because it is real and it's normal and it's common. So with that, I will leave you, and I will catch you in the next one.